Nearly half of American electric vehicle owners want to switch back to a gas-powered vehicle. Yeah, they're realizing it's not as good as they were sold, huh? So a significant share of Americans who own an electric vehicle have buyer's remorse, according to new data. The McKinsey and Company's Mobility Consumer Pulse for current year, released this month, found that 46% of electric vehicle owners in the US say that they were very likely to switch back to owning a gas-powered vehicle in their next purchase. But how is line going to keep going up for electric vehicle adoption rates like the government is mandating? I guess it's time to start banning gas vehicles entirely, huh? A high percentage of Americans who want to make the switch even surprised the consulting firm. I didn't expect that. The head of McKinsey's Center for Future Mobility, Philip Kampschoff, told Automotive News. So I thought once an electric vehicle buyer, always an electric vehicle buyer. And did you think that because you have an electric vehicle yourself and you actually can't imagine anyone not wanting that? Or were you just blindly listening to what the lies the media was telling you about how great it is? It has to be either one or the other. So, in a poll of nearly 37,000 consumers worldwide, Australia was the only country with a greater percentage, 49% of electric vehicle owners than the US, who said they were ready to return to owning an internal combustion engine. Now, Australia makes sense, especially if you need something with range. So other countries included in the survey: Brazil, China, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and Norway. Across all countries, the average share who wanted to ditch their electric vehicles was 29%. Yeah, it's about the country. Yeah, the country and their infrastructure. Maybe Brazil, China, like they might be they're also pretty big, like Australia and the US have a lot of open space, but they might be more developed in their more urban areas anyway, at least in the areas where people would be buying electric vehicles. Yeah, in the US, it's mostly an inconvenience. So the biggest reason electric vehicle owners cited for wanting to return to owning gas-powered cars was the lack of available charging infrastructure. The second highest reason started was that the total cost of owning it was too high, and it's only going to get higher too as states are ditching their gas taxes, and instead they're going to be switching to mileage tax. Yeah, it's going to get even more expensive. So nearly 1 in 3, 32%, said their driving patterns on long-distance trips were affected too much due to having an electric vehicle. Yeah, it's not even just making sure you have the charging infrastructure on your trip, but if I have a gas-powered car and I have to stop to refuel, I could be out of there in like 5 minutes. As long as there's no line, if I could get to a pump immediately, 5 minutes. With these electric vehicles, it pretty much takes an hour. Even if there was no line, it just takes a while to charge up. For any sort of long distance trip, like I will say this, like electric vehicles can have their use as long as you don't drive it anywhere that would require you to leave it anywhere but your garage. Outside of that, though, nah, not so much. Not much use. Oh, in Brazil, Sao Paulo is the only place that has enough charging stations. I guess that must have been the only place people even own electric vehicles in Brazil then, huh? McKinsey found that consumer satisfaction globally with charging availability has improved some since the last year's survey, but noted it still has a long way to go. Of electric vehicles across all countries, 11% said the infrastructure was where they live was set up in terms of charging points. 40% said that there was not enough chargers along highways and main roads. 38% said there was not enough chargers in close proximity to them. And also, the chargers take too long to charge. Don't forget that. Yeah, if you go on road trips in an electric vehicle, you better be planning for a lot of downtime. The findings come years into the Brandon administration's push for U.S. consumers and automakers to embrace electric vehicles and enforce other recent polling that indicates a major chunk of Americans are still not sold on going all electric. Yeah, and this isn't a good sign if almost half of them want to come back. Almost half of those who were sold on it have changed their minds. Like, actually, I regret this decision almost as much as when I chopped my dick off. But this one I can at least reverse. So, to further Brandon's electric vehicle agenda, Democrats passed infrastructure legislation in current year -3 that committed billions of taxpayer dollars to building 500,000 charging stations in the U.S. by the end of the decade. But 3 years on, and only seven federally funded chargers have been built to date, and the slow progress has sparked condemnation from both sides of the political aisle. Well, you got to repurpose that money. Was it for some transformer pork barrel spending of some kind? So electric vehicles not for road trips. Social engineers don't want us going on road trips. That's true. The electric vehicles only need to be good enough to keep you in your 15-minute city. As long as you could go anywhere in your 15-minute city, that's good enough. Got to pass through that gate, though? Not so much. Volt hybrid could go 100 kilometers on electric, then switch to juice. Yeah, hybrids are a different story. Hybrids are fine. I guess better. There's a line at the electric vehicle charging station. Charging takes longer because there are only so many kilowatts to go around, and the more you split up, the less goes to each charger. Yeah, just like internet speeds. The more of your neighbors are streaming 8K Netflix, the slower your internet. That's right. Yeah, so if every single charger at the station is being used, you'll charge even slower. Yeah, that's why even people who have a charger, they get annoyed when someone else pulls up and uses another one. Like, man, you using that charger is going to add a few minutes to my charge time.